Hi, this is Steve Andres. I'm the pastor of New City Church, and this is our podcast. Every week at New City, we invite people to know God, find freedom, discover purpose, and learn how to make a difference. I want to thank you for joining us today, and I hope that this message inspires and challenges you to love God and serve your city more. If you want more info on New City Church or other resources, go to newcity.life today. But for now, enjoy this message.
We want to take a few moments and read from God's Word and encourage you this Good Friday. Everyone is here, or if you're watching online, this is just an amazing opportunity for us to reflect on the goodness, even as we just sang, "Oh, the rugged cross," the opportunity to reflect on the goodness of God. Let's read together. If you have your Bibles, if you want to light it up, turn it on. If you want to grab the pages and flip to it, whatever's easiest for you. Luke chapter 23 is where I'm going to be reading from. A few verses found in Luke chapter 23, verses 32 through 43. This is what it says. I'm reading from the NIV. It says, 2 other men, both criminals, were also led out with him to be executed. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there along with the other criminals, one on his right and the other on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing." And they divided up his clothes by casting lots. The people stood watching, and the rulers even sneered at him. They said, "He saved others. Let him save himself if he is God's Messiah, the chosen one." The soldiers also came up and mocked him. They offered him wine vinegar and said, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." Verse 38 says, there was a written notice above him which read, "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other criminal rebuked him. "Don't you fear God?" he said. "Since you are under the same sentence, we are punished justly for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then verse 42 says, then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus answered him, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." Come on, let's pray one more time together. God, we thank you for this moment of reflection, just to thank you for the cross. We say we're grateful people today, that while we were yet sinners, Lord, you chose to die for us. And so we take this moment to reflect. We take this moment to posture our hearts as we get ready to be encouraged by your word. God, we pray that you would help us. Pray that you would help me to step down and step out, God, so you can step up and step in, reach us and do something today to help us reflect more on you. We thank you and we love you in your name. Amen. I recently found myself, I was reading an article and I got really down a rabbit hole of clickbait. I don't know if you are familiar with what that is, but essentially is where you had 2 minutes to spare, so you decided you were going to read an article, and then 45 minutes later, you've read 17 articles. That's what clickbait does. You just start clicking and keep on going. And I was reading one, and the title really caught me. It was an exciting title. It literally said, the cool kids had this growing up in the 80s. I said, that sounds like fun. Let me reflect on some of my upbringing a little bit. Let me read to you some of the things that it had on the list. It had a Walkman. How many remember the Walkman? If you're at home, come on, put a hand emoji in the chat. The Walkman. Like, I remember the first time I tried to jog with the Walkman. Like, it was like skipping. It was like, man, this is not fun. That's why I stopped working out. And then also, how many remember the Fisher-Price cassette player? Okay, old school. Phenomenal. Loved it. The Atari 2600. David Norris is with me. Thank you, John. I love it. I appreciate it. The scratch and sniff stickers, okay? The original, like you would scratch them and smell them. They all kind of smelled the same, but it's cool. It's no big deal to list. Love yo-yos. I had a couple of two. It was one of my favorite. The Choose Your Own Adventure books. How many remember Choose Your Own Adventure books? For those that don't remember, let me put you on, because this was an amazing series. Whoever thought about this was genius. In the Choose Your Own Adventure books, it was written in a second-person point of view. Okay, and you played the protagonist, and you had the ability. There were literally 44 different options per book that you can choose to change the ending of the story. And so what was cool was I would have multiple conversations with friends when I would ask them, we would be reading the same books like The Abominable Snowman, Space and Beyond. I remember House of Danger. And we would go up to each other and say, okay, how did you end the book? It was like this cool moment where we can reflect and look back and say, how did you end the book? And what I love about this is this is what it taught me. You can have the same opportunity, but have two different outcomes. You can literally have the same opportunity that is presented in the same situation, but have two different outcomes. When I think about this is what our opportunity to be in proximity to Jesus, but yet there are two different outcomes. Before we get to this particular scene that we just read about, it's important for us to remember that 700 years before this moment, the prophet Isaiah actually prophesied. He gave us the why behind the what. He told us the crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. I think Isaiah 53 is key, but the key word here is not his, but it's our. That's the key word there, that it wasn't his doing that brought this transgression. It wasn't his doing that brought this punishment. It was our doing. It was me. So put him on the cross. It's important to understand that, because when we say we're responsible for our actions is what put him on the cross, it's imperative for us to understand what that means. In fact, when you look back at, if you were joining us for our Lent devotions, we went through this a couple of days ago. But that's a medical term when literally you're dealing with so much anguish and so much pain that your body takes on this flight or fight kind of mentality. Your body the nervous system shuts down, and what ends up happening is you begin to hemorrhage, your blood cells begin to pop, and it leaks into your sweat glands. Literally, Jesus is praying and feeling the acute pressure of what is about to come. And he's literally thinking about us as he's doing it. He's in the garden. Someone who was by his side and went through high highs and low lows with Jesus literally betrays him. Felt this pain of betrayal from a friend. Then the Bible tells us that he was arrested. Someone were to come on stage, if Pastor Steve felt it necessary and decided to come on stage, direction of the punch or move it away so that it would lessen the impact, lessen the blow. But because Jesus was blindfolded, it's the very reason why in Isaiah 52, the Bible says that he was beaten beyond recognition. He was unable to see which way the punch was people. And he's put up with another criminal. And they ask, who do you want to release today? And can you imagine the feeling after already feeling pressure in the garden, after being betrayed, after being beaten, standing up and hearing crowds of people, some who he's probably helped. He may have helped a family member. He may have helped someone who they were connected to. People, crowds of people yelling, crucify him, crucify him. The pressure of that alone was so much. Then the Bible tells us that after that he was flogged, which is a way of beating, a way of whipping. But it's more than that. Paul talks about in Corinthians that it's 40 minus 1, that 39 lashes were given. Jesus being flogged at this moment. Then to add to all that's already happened, Jesus had to take on the cross and had to walk with the cross that could have been anywhere between 75 to 300 pounds. After taking all that he had taken, from being in the garden and perspiring blood, to being betrayed, to being beaten, to being on trial where you hear people calling out for a notorious prisoner to be set free. Now he has to carry this cross, and then he has to hang on the cross, and they begin to nail him to the cross. I want you to get this image. And as he's being nailed to the cross, they do it in such a way where your legs were at a 45-degree angle, so your thighs were actually the ones holding your entire body weight up. If you've ever done a wall squat for any amount of time where you're literally squatting, imagine that, but after taking the garden, after taking the betrayal, after taking the beating, after taking the mocking, after taking the laughing and the spitting and the pulling and the lashing, he's now being hung to the cross, where he is literally in between two criminals. Think about this for a moment. While the crowd was yelling, crucify him, and releasing Barabbas, he takes the cross that actually that belonged to Barabbas, holding on by his thighs, and he does it for you and I. And then we get to the scene that we talked about. this scene where there are two thieves, one who begins to mock, one who begins to converse with Jesus and say, would you remember me? And I love this because it's two thieves. They have the same angle, they have the same vantage point, they have the same opportunity, but we see two outcomes. Let's look at thief number one. Thief number one takes this opportunity and compromises and gives into what the crowd is doing. And he finds himself laughing and mocking Jesus in that moment. You could have saved others. Why don't you save us as well? What's interesting about that to me is I love this idea of like talking about somebody else's problems won't take you away from your problems. Thief is on the cross dying, and he finds it a good moment to start mocking someone else. Probably not the best moment. Then the other thief, the second thief on the cross, realizes the sacrifice that is being made for him and puts his faith in a dying king. In that moment, while everyone is mocking him, he puts his faith in Jesus. Two thieves. This is what Good Friday is all about. The second thief realized something. He took what was offered. Jesus offered him paradise and he took it. What would have made more sense was purgatory. He probably felt like he could have earned his way back to salvation. That's probably what all of us want to do at times. We want to earn our way back. But this is the truth of the gospel. This is the truth of grace, that we cannot do it ourselves. That we don't have the power to get on God's good side. We don't have that ability. That's why we need the cross. That's why this Friday is so good, because it shows that even this thief who had no opportunity to make any rights, he couldn't amend anything that he had done wrong in his life, in this moment has an opportunity to step into paradise because he received the grace of God. Two thieves, same angle, same vantage point, same opportunity, two outcomes. It reminds me of what happened when Amy and I lived in Louisiana. We were out on a date night one night at a local restaurant, and we're enjoying ourselves, and it's a time for us to get away from the kids, and we're having a good time. And the waitress comes to bring us our check, and she puts it down, then she takes it back really quickly, and I'm like, this is really uncomfortable, this is a little awkward, what's happening? Maybe she put something wrong on the bill. And then she comes back and she goes, hey, with a big smile on her face. She's like, hey, someone at the restaurant picked up your tab, don't worry about it. And I'll be honest, as opposed to celebrating in that moment, I had this strange feeling as I was sitting there. It was this feeling of helplessness. There was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could have done in that moment to pay the bill. The bill was already paid. There was nothing I could do. I felt helpless. And it's one of those moments where to insist on paying would be pointless. If I insisted that I needed to pay, it would be pointless because the bill was already paid. So I had an option. I had a choice. I can trust what the waitress told me and live my life according to that, which would mean getting up and getting out of the restaurant. Or I could sit there and just say, I need to do something. I need to earn it. And friends, this is the truth of grace. This is our opportunity with grace. There is nothing we can do to earn it. There is nothing we do to deserve it. The bill has been paid. The bill has been paid. In fact, I love how Pastor Rick Warren out of Saddleback Church in California, he says it like this: God specializes in giving people a fresh start. I love that so much because the thief on the cross, in a moment, we didn't need to see a testimony video. We didn't need to see him go through this life transformation, this behavior modification program. In a moment, he was given paradise. And it's because he simply believed that the bill was paid. Two thieves, same vantage point, same opportunity, two outcomes. And when I think about this, I believe that both the thieves had equal access to Jesus. Both of them had the same, they were spread apart the same amount of distance and had the same opportunity to access Jesus. One chose to mock and chose that outcome. The other one chose to believe and was received with paradise. It's amazing to me because even as I think about this, I believe that in my heart of hearts, whether you're watching online, no matter where you are, whether you're here in person, there are times where there are two types of people in this room. Thief number one, thief number two. Let me say it to you another way. there are two types of people in this room: God's people and God's children. Being God's people simply means that God is your creator, but God is not necessarily your father. You are created by God automatically, but you are fathered by God by choice. This is why John writes in John chapter 1, verse 12, he literally says these words, "Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God." The reason we celebrate, the reason we take a moment to be reflective on the cross is because if we're all honest, we would realize that in our own lives, that we've been at the place where we've had the same vantage point, we've had the same opportunities, but maybe we've chosen different outcomes. But today we could be grateful for the cross of Jesus Christ, which paid our bill, the bill of transgressions, the bill of the debt that was so big that we cannot pay it ourselves, and he bore it on the cross. We're going to take a moment to pray now, and then Pastor Steve is going to lead us in communion. But before we take this moment to pray, I want you to do something that's really special to me. It's something that's become a new rhythm, but I want you to close your eyes, even if you're at home. I know some of you are watching while you work. We thank you for being on, but still your heart. If you're here, close your eyes. Would you be okay with opening up your palms, lifting your palms up? And for a minute, just 1 minute before Pastor Steve comes and before I pray, I want you just to sit in stillness and think about the goodness of the cross. God, we thank you for this moment where we can be in your presence, Lord, whether we're watching online, whether we're in person, Lord. We thank you for your presence that is always with us. We thank you for this story that reminds us of these two thieves who had the same angle, the same vantage point, the same opportunities, but there were two outcomes, Lord. And we thank you for seeing one of the thieves, Lord, who literally gave it all to you in that moment and said, God, I just want to, would you remember me, God? And your response to him, Jesus, was, today you will be with me in paradise. We thank you that there's nothing we can do to earn our purification. There's no purgatory. There's nothing we can do, God. All there is simply is accepting you as Lord and Savior. We thank you for the cross. We take a moment to reflect and think about where we would be without the cross. And God, we thank you for the garden, Lord, where you were perspiring blood. We thank you, God, for the moment of betrayal. We thank you, Lord, for taking the beating. We thank you for taking the chanting of crucify him. We thank you for taking the flogging and carrying the cross and the nails in the wrist and the posture that held all of your weight to your thighs. We thank you for that, because it's because of that action, Lord, that we can have life, Lord. We say thank you, Jesus, that our actions deserve death, Lord, but you took that on for us in this moment. We are grateful people, and we say thank you, Lord. Help us now as we prepare to take communion, God, that you would help our hearts to be stilled, knowing, Lord, that we can be grateful because of the work of the cross. We thank you, and we love you, Jesus. We love you, we love you, we love you. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.